With just about a month left to CAT, the question you'd be having in your mind is that if any section of yours is weak, if you're weak in QA, if you're weak in DILR, or if you're weak in VARC, should you now focus on it and try to regain something from it and learn it, or should you absolutely leave it and forget it? So if this is one of the questions you've been having in your head in the last 1 week or so, then this video will answer it out for you. I'll help you logically understand that what you need to do with the sections which you feel are weak and which you feel will spoil the game for you in CAT 2022. Hi, I'm Darpan Saxena, an MBA graduate from IIM Udaipur, and let's get on with the video. So the objective is simple. In this video, you and I collectively need to arrive at a conclusion that whether we should focus on our areas of weakness or should we forget about them, should we leave ahead? The question is very simple. Focus or leave. And the context is that we are just about a month away from CAT, not even a month away from CAT. This is when I'm making this video for you. And hence, it becomes very critical for you to be able to take this choice right now. So I will be sharing with you a simple 3-point agenda, 3 points of what I feel, what you should do, what would be a wise thing to do, and how you should, how should you even look at your areas of weaknesses. My very first thing should open up your mind considerably, because the first thing is that I want you to answer this for me right now, and do not forget to share this in the comments. I want you to actually share this in the comments, what I'm about to ask you. That just pause and think whether do you have a weak section or do you have only weak topics? This is a very important thing to ask yourself first up, because this is a mindset thing. Again, a lot of videos which I create even for the MBA students to help them get the best placements and the best outcomes for from their MBA, I always advise them that the first thing you need to think about is your mindset. My question to you is, are you weak in an entire section? Is it really true? Or is it that you're just saying yourself that, I'm weak in QA, I'm weak in DILR, I'm weak in VARC, whereas the fact is that you're only weak in a certain topics. My submission to you is that if you pause and realize, you would think that, okay, if you've been even a fairly decent student, I'm not even saying that you would have been a rock star in CAT, even if you have studied a bit for CAT and you've been serious about it, I can say to you that most likely you do not have weak sections. You do not have a weak section altogether. You most likely have weak topics. One exception to this is obviously VARC. When I always advise my MBA aspirants about this, I say that yes, VARC is a little hatke, because the problems which you will face in VARC are not the same as the problems which you will face in DILR. The chances are that yes, if you are somebody who's saying that, okay, VARC, I'm weak in VARC, then yes, I can assume that yes, probably the entire section of VARC is a problem for you. Why am I saying that? Because we know that in VARC, if I were to talk to you specifically about VARC, which has 24 questions, in which 16 questions are RCs, 3 questions are para summaries, 3 questions are para jumbles, 2 questions are odd sentence. This is the breakup. This is what the breakup of CAT 2021 has been, and we can we can safely assume this will be the breakup. And if you would have watched my video specifically which I created, if you're somebody who's weak in VARC, then you should watch that video. In that I said that the thing about VARC is that 19 questions, this 16 RCs plus 3 PS, are basically about comprehension. This is the same, because for you to be able to crack these questions, these 19 questions, you need to have a good comprehension. Your ability to comprehend, ability to understand that level of English, अंग्रेजी, has to be good. तो VARC में तो मैं समझ सकता हूँ. I can understand in VARC that yes, if you are facing problems in VARC, then usually the entire section is a problem for you, because 19 out of 24 questions are a problem for you. However, that is also good news for you. Now that you know that 19 out of 24 questions are about the same thing, all you need to focus on is कि even if I were to solve my VARC problem, I need to solve my level of comprehension. I just need to do some things through which I can start to understand the things in a much good way. For that, I would again advise you watch my video on VARC. I will put the link to it in the descriptions. So, whereas apart from VARC, if we were to talk specifically about QA and DILR, I can safely say to you that the problem will not be a section wide problem. The problem will be a topic specific problem. For example, for me, if I were to talk to you about QA, I was somebody who was very weak in QA, and for the most amount of time, I used to think that in general, my QA is a big problem for me. However, what I realized is that no, not the entire QA is a big problem for me. I have my strengths in some areas. At least I knew that my algebra, out of everything, my algebra was good. I knew that yes, my problem areas was arithmetic. I knew that my problem areas was PNC. I knew all of these things. But I knew that, okay, algebra is something I'm comfortable in. So algebra I'm able to solve. What I need to work on now is basically arithmetic and some of these other areas. Broadly, these things will solve your problem. So identify whether it is a topic or a section. Again, for DILR, it is the same story. For a lot of people, DI might not be very strong, but LR type of questions might be strong. So at least I know that it's not the entire section, and this is one understanding which I want you to have right away. So I would want you to just pause, think about it, not think too much about it also, and write it down in the comments that whether do you have a weak section or a weak area. My hunch is you most likely have a weak area, a weak, a very specific weak chapter, a weak area in which you are strong, sorry, in which you are weak. Now my next question is that, okay, suppose now you have identified your weaker areas, and you know that, okay, there are some areas in QA, in DI, LR in which I am strong. My question to you is now, can we look at it in another way? Can we look at some data and understand that, okay, even if we were to leave our problem areas, even if we were to choose right now in this video that, okay, with 3 weeks to CAT, I will leave the areas which I am not able to solve anymore. Suppose we were to make the call, let's try and understand how much of a problem will it cause for us. And that is why I have compiled some data for you. And this data effectively is your CAT 2021, last year's CAT score versus percentile. What you have in front of you is the VARC percentiles. And I've shared with you that how in VARC, at what score or of VARC, how much percentile were you able to have. Now look at this 5 data points carefully. 49 score, 99.5 percentile in VARC. The reason why you need to look at these scores and know these scores very well is because these will answer for you that do you really need a lot of areas as your strength to be able to score a good percentile or not? The answer is maybe not. I'll tell you why. Now if you can see this, I have also highlighted that basically for you to score 49 score, how many net correct questions you need to have. Mind you, the number of questions in VARC are 24 questions. So for you to score a 99.5 percentile, you need to get a net correct of 17 questions. I'm saying if you're somebody who does not feel that his strength is VARC, why do you even have to aim for a 99.5 percentile? You can be fairly comfortable in probably aiming for a 95 percentile as well, or a 98 percentile as well. If you are planning to get only 95, which is a respectable percentile which will clear all of the cutoffs, what's the problem in that? All you've got to do is get 12 out of 24 questions net correct. So for you, if you are right now a student who's facing a problem that, oh my God, one of my sections is very weak, will that section cause a lot of problem for me? Will that section cause me problems in making it to my dream B school? My answer to you is straight away that no. If you've identified that only sections for you are weak, or sorry, if if only areas for you are weak, if you only have weak areas, that will never cause a problem for you, because because the exam will have because the exam will have something for everyone. So for me to actually score a 95 percentile in VARC, which was only example, all I have to focus on is getting half the questions correct, 12 questions correct. Now again, I have also now shown you how much the same thing is for DILR and for QA. So the same kind of scores which you need to score for you to get a good score in DILR, it is there in front of you. Again, the context is VRC has 24 questions, DILR has 20 questions, and QA has 22 questions. Now with that as the context, suppose you say that okay, in DILR, DI is not my strength, LR is my, I can still do LR. My question to you is, if you know that DILR is not your strength, it's okay. You don't need a 99 or a 98 percentile in your weaker area. You can still get your dream B school with a 95 percentile in your weaker areas. And for you to get a 95 percentile in DILR, all you had to get correct in CAT 2021 was 8 questions. Out of 20 questions, 8 questions means only 2 sets. Only 2 sets, which means what? Which means that, and I will be speaking about this in a separate video for all the three VARC, DILR, and QA, in which I'll be speaking to you about your attempt mindset. I'll be saying this to you, that this proves to you that for you to get a respectable percentile in your weaker area, if DILR is your weaker area, all you need is to aim for 2 sets. Out of how many sets? 2 sets is all you need to crack it. So broadly, this is what you need to know, that you can attempt less, or you can do very focused attempts for from your areas of strength, probably strengthen your areas of strength, and you can still get a good percentile. Same thing is for QA is a problem for a lot of students. Again, if QA is a problem, which it was for me, a 95 percentile would just mean 8 questions out of 22 questions in a time of 40 minutes. In 40 minutes, all I need to aim is to find out those 8 to 10 questions in which I will give my wholehearted attempt, which I can see that these are from my areas of strength, these are easy, and I can spend some extra on this and clear it simply. This, my dear friends, is the great thing when you look at data objectively, and my attempt here was to give you a realistic understanding of what can happen with you if you objectively think about whether, one, you have a weaker section or a weaker area, and two, when you realize that probably you only have weak areas, then can you still get a very good percentile, not just a qualifying but a very decent percentile, even with having a few weak areas. Now my third point and the last point is very important. Let's suppose you are somebody who says that no, I have a lot of weaker areas, and now I know that yes, for me to even score a respectable percentile, I need to go back to my weaker areas, because मेरे weaker areas ही बहुत ज़्यादा हैं. If that is the condition which you have, then my third point is for you, because then this is what you need to ask yourself, that when are you watching this video of mine? आप ये video देख कब रहे हैं? हो सकता है, it could be that you're watching this video on the same day in which on which I have uploaded this, or it could be that you might watch this 1 year or 6 months from now. My question to you is that for you to be able to answer it for yourself, that whether you should now focus on your weak areas or not. It is also a function of how far away are you from the cat. If you would have seen my video on the 30 days to cat strategy, which is a very crucial video which all of you cat aspirants need to watch. If you watch that, I gave you my 4-week 4Cs strategy. That if you're in the last 4 weeks, how do you need to carefully divide your 4 weeks and what you need to do in each week. Right now, on the day when I'm uploading this, we are somewhat 3 weeks away from the cat, which means that this first week, the 4th week from cat has passed away. Calibration week has passed away. And if you watch that other video of mine, you will know what exactly is there in each of these weeks. If you remember watching that, and I would urge you to watch it after you complete this, I had said to you that even if in the last 4 weeks, if you still have weak sections or weak areas, it's fine. The way I've created this 4Cs strategy is for you to be able to even accommodate your weaker areas in your studies. And for that, I had said that you can utilize these 2 weeks, the weeks of calibrate and the weeks of concentrate, to again try and do something in your weak areas. So if you're watching it right now on the day when I am uploading it, when you are still 3 weeks away from cat, if you are watching it when you are still at least 3 weeks away from cat, I am still saying you can afford to spend the next 4 days, 5 days in solving previous year questions of your areas of weakness. See, I've answered one question for you already, that I am saying that you can still concentrate on your weaker areas for the next 4 days if you're 3 weeks away from cat. And how would you concentrate on it? The only way for you right now is to look at previous year actual cat questions. That is the best way. That is all the practice you need, all the understanding of the kind of questions which will come that you need for an exam like cat. However, if you're watching a video where you have more than 3 weeks available to you, then obviously you have a lot of time to still take care of your weaker areas in cat. And hence I would advise you that yes, give yourself a aim, a target, that in the next 1 week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 8 weeks, I will make this area into my strength. But if you are watching it only with 3 weeks away from cat, then my dear friends, you have only the next 4 days or 5 days at max to get back to it, and you can do it, because I am advising you a very focused way of understanding it that solve your previous year questions and you will be good with it. So guys, that was about it for this video of mine. I wanted you to answer it for you and to clarify it in your mind whether you have weak sections or weak areas, because most likely you do not have weak sections. It's just something which you say to yourself. You actually have only weak areas which can be solved. You still have the time. Now, do subscribe to the channel, because as you know, I'm creating one video each day for your cat, for your last 4 weeks to cat. Tomorrow I'll be speaking to you about your 3 week strategy. I would be reiterating the 3 week strategy, and subsequently each day I'll be sharing with you more strategies, more aspect, more things about the good mindset and the things which you need to do to get a very good percentile in your cat and crack a good B school from there. That's about it from now. Thanks a lot and goodbye.